So what is your idea about Ab initio? Could you please tell me? Whatever it is,
Ab-
that's fine.
Abinitio is a tool, sir, for developing graphs, is user-friendly environment to test
Mm-hmm,
the
mm-hmm,
large data.
uh-huh,
Abinitio is used,
mm-hmm,
and it is very secure
mm-hmm,
compared to other softwares,
mm-hmm,
and we can thoroughly learn this.
mm-hmm. See, when
Mm.
it comes to security, even Informatica talent are also secured.
Yeah,
They
sir.
are also secured, buddy. They are like lot of vendors are using talent and Informatica. It's not like that.
Okay. Okay.
So security, all ETL tools are providing. It
Okay.
is just that the performance is the only factor why
Sure.
Abinitio is competing in the entire world with all the ETL tools. Only performance, one factor. That's all. And
Okay.
to compete with that performance, no other ETL tools are able to do so far. I'm telling you
Okay.
clearly. Nobody like Informatica, Talent, many
Mm.
ETL tools have come in the market. Like Informatica, Talent are the major ones. Apart from
Mm.
that, you also have other ETL tools also, but they are not SSIS. Then also
Mm.
other tools are there, but they are not as competitive as Ab initio, only due to performance. Because
Okay.
Ab initio has certain features, certain principles which Ab initio Corporation as an organization have started. I mean, which they have introduced into Ab initio ETL tool, for
Mm.
which they are very much in performance wise they are very very good in the market, for which other tools are not able to compete. But at the
Okay.
same time, it has also certain drawbacks. Drawback is, this is very costly, very costly.
Okay.
See, See, as a resource, like as a people, since you
Mm.
are going to work in IT, today
Mm.
Wells Fargo, maybe after 3 years into some other captive, maybe Citibank,
Sure.
maybe JPMC, like that life will go on. So for you, it is not a problem why it is expensive and all. But since we should know from knowledge perspective, Wells Fargo, JPMC, Citibank, American Express, these banks are paying a hell lot of money to Ab initio Corporation for
Sir.
getting license.
Yes, sir.
That is the very first thing. But they are able to afford because you told a very good point, that is it will work on a big data, high volume of data.
Yes, sir.
So when it works on high volume of data and the performance is good, means what? The speed is good, the processing on high volume of data is very very good.
Mm.
So these people are ready to pay for that, because for them
Mm.
data is very high, and they
Mm.
also need high processing, real time processing on those data, big data, and this is the
Mm.
banking data or financial data. So obviously their volume will increase day by day.
Okay.
Every day in the market is taking, somebody's taking credit card, debit card, taking a loan, or
Mm.
depositing some money, or doing some transaction purchases. Now online purchases have increased like anything. Phone
Mm.
pay, Paytm, digital payments, so all those things are tracked in through those banks only, right? So
Yes,
that's
sir.
why banking data increases, so they are anyhow moving to Avenue. So that is a positive thing. And little bit negative, like they have to pay high, but people are there who are ready to pay, so we are not worried about that. So as a
Yes, sir.
resource, we should always think we should learn Ab initio, we should grow Ab initio, and we
Mm.
should keep upgrading ourselves in the market, and we should keep looking for opportunities either in the same organization or in new organization or for on-site, whatever it is. I'm just telling
Yes.
both aspects. One is market will keep changing, trend will change, but another is your own aspects to to the IT world, how you are going to
Yes, sir.
face it. So you just
Mm.
think I will focus on Ab initio as a developer. See, Wells
Mm.
Fargo, I know my friends are also working there, like managers over there. They are well settled in Hyderabad. So you got a
Mm.
Hyderabad Wells Fargo, is it?
Yes, sir. Hyderabad.
Okay, okay, okay. So, so they also told me the same thing. Their work culture is very good. It is relaxing. It's not like pressurized. They'll pressure and work. They'll give you some more load and pressure on you, and you have to work daily. It's not like other IT servicing companies like Cognizant, L&T, and all. So it's the
Yes, sir.
environment is cool. So initially, since you entered, you will get ample time to learn and work. So before that, you take a training that will definitely help you a lot,
Yes,
and
sir.
that's how it is. So let's start today's demo session. So
Sir.
it's good that you know at least few lines of Ab initio. That's why you took Ab initio. I'm happy for that. Thank you. So let me first make you take you through the contents that we'll cover first.
Okay.
Okay. So basically, Ab initio, when we start, so you would have heard of our regular RDBMS, right?
Yes,
Like
sir.
Oracle Teradata and all. So
Yes,
Oracle
sir.
Teradata were there already in the market. Okay.
Sir.
And so they were also solving bigger problems, bigger database problems, solving bigger queries.
Mm.
But still, certain ETL companies, scientists, they came to know there are many ways,
Mm.
these RDBMS tools like Oracle Teradata are degrading day by day. Performances issues are happening, like queries hanging, queries breaking, pipeline breaking. you know, the triggers packages are breaking somewhere because the data is increasing day by day. So how much you will do that performance tuning, still it will break.
Okay.
That's why the scientists started developing ETL tools, which is called extraction, transformation, and loading.
Loading.
Extraction, transformation, and loading, which stands for ETL.
Mm.
So that they will make the task more easier and performance will be good, processing will be high, blah blah blah. For which
Mm.
they started developing ETL tools. So among that, Abinitio Corporation is a big organization. Informatica also is a tool. Talent is a tool, etc.
Yes, sir.
So definitely when at the end of the day we are going to work on. So what happened is, so as I told you, so that's why this this revolution came from RDBMS to ETL. So
Okay.
when obviously, son, when you are doing extraction, transformation, and loading, you are again doing the DBMS operation, but it is just that it is more scalable. It is a very scalable, means it can improve daily basis as long as your data increases. So
Okay.
that's why you didn't use Oracle and Teradata. I'm telling
Mm.
you market scenario. So that
Mm.
means obviously if you are going to detail, you should know basics of IDMS as well. What is
Okay.
database? What is database management system? What is a data warehouse? What are tables? What are schemas? Because if you don't know this, how will you relate the database data with your ETL? ETL
Yes, sir.
tool, you should open, you will drag and drop, you are creating a graph, you are doing some solving some problem. But unless and until you have some basic, fundamental knowledge about the data,
Sir.
data warehouse, then how will you proceed in ETL? Because it has all started from your DBMS, like as I said, Oracle, Teradata, and all. So
Yes, sir.
that is the reason we will first start with and give you some basics of data warehousing like this. I'm opening a document. So initially, when once we start our training on Ab initio, the first one or 2 days, 2 days actually, it will cover all
Mm.
fundamentals of data warehousing, SQL like joins and all. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so here we are not committing that you will become a developer in SQL. I'm not telling you that, or expert
Mm.
in Taylor, because that training is different. It is just
Mm.
that you will have that much knowledge which is needed to start working on ETL tools or Ab initio.
Yes, sir.
So we will first start your 1 or 2 days, 2 days basically on fundamentals of data warehousing. Okay,
Okay.
like what is the data warehouse? What are the terminologies you should know as a fresher before getting into ETL tool? Because if you don't have basic knowledge of data warehousing,
Mm.
how much you work on Ab initio also fundamentally won't be clear, and you will face some problems knowing fundamental things. So that's why
Okay.
we will first take you through many data warehousing concepts initially. So this is one of the PPT. So another PPT also we will show you something like this, which will be basically on you know more of let me open it. I swear.
Mm.
So this is fine. This is today's session. This is a demo session. I'll show you, of course. And this is the module actually, which you will cover up in this entire 2 to 3 weeks or 3 weeks time period. It depends upon your speed, whether how much days you're taking to complete the training. So this is like ab initio course. You could see, right? This is first we'll cover your data warehousing basics.
Mm.
These are the terminals, the old TVs, OLAPs, data warehousing, data mart, ETL architectures, those things will be covered up. We'll show you some basic commands of Unix as well. Because
Yes, sir.
also Unix few commands you need to know day to day before getting into Ab initio. Because
Yes, sir.
see, when you're working in Ab initio, as you said, it is extraction, transformation and
Mm.
loading. That means you're extracting something from somewhere. That means you
Mm-hmm.
need to know some DBMS concept which will cover in your data warehousing. Because you are going to
Okay.
get some data from a database. You should know tables,
Okay.
table schemas and all data.
Okay.
Similarly, if you are fetching data from files, that means you need to know your Unix or Linux commands, because when you work in Unix or Linux command, you will need to work on few Unix or Linux commands which will help you to work on the files. Suppose there is a file called employee.dat. It's a flat file. It has employee details. So suppose you want to see the content in Unix, you have to cat that file. You have to list that file. All those basic commands will show you, so that definitely you will get an idea how to work on Unix commands, which will help you to work as a ab initio developer. It's not a Unix expert training. It is ab
Mm.
initio training. Okay. So we are
Okay.
showing fundamentals of Unix and data warehousing in first 2 days. Then after that, complete Ab initio is starting, which is a very extensive course, and we'll cover a fundamentals of architecture, GD overview. So these are very fundamentals. That doesn't take much time. Then the main work starts from components. So we have
Mm.
listed almost 33 components here, which will cover up. And these 33 component rate is more than enough. You'll work on day-to-day basis. I'm telling you, Ab initio almost has more than 70, 80 components. Okay, but it's
Okay.
not necessarily. See, I am now 12 years experience. I'm an architect. Even I
Hmm.
am not thorough in all those 100 components which have been developed so far,
Okay.
because it is just that when you solve problem, it is always you will be play around on certain components which are on demand, and which are performance specific. You will work on daily basis.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Hmm.
But learning purpose, you can learn those 100 components. Nobody can stop you. But to be frank, on practical background, I'm saying once you join Wells Fargo, you will never get that opportunity to learn all those components. You will always be confined to your project work, and inside the project, what all graphs will be there, what all components will be there, you will be only sticking to them. Okay, so it is different altogether. But anyway, we have given 33 components so that it is more than enough for anybody, so that they don't face any problem in their future. Okay, because
Yes, sir.
once you get your Abinitio license in your Wells Fargo, how things will happen, I'm telling you a brief. You will get a
Hmm.
license called GDE key and GDE license. Two things you'll get. So that
Okay.
Abinitio admin will do for you. You don't have to do that. Your Abinitio admin will be there in your corporation who will do for you. Then once
Okay.
the GDE key and license is generated for Ravi, then you will
Hmm.
open your GDE graph. You'll access all your sandboxes, EME servers, and you'll start working. So
Yes,
then
sir.
you will get access to a file called as Abinitio help file, which is only available when you get a license or access to your GD environment called
Hmm.
Abinitio help file. And that is a real, I'll say the, what I can say, it's a gift to all developers in your entire life. Once you start working on project, you can refer help file and work. But that is very
Yes.
high, expensive. Only this Wells Fargo and all they can afford. So once you
Hmm.
get a license after this training, whenever you work in project, it will be helpful in your long term career, like next 20 years something. You can always refer to Abinitio help file. It's like a kind of guidebook. Okay,
Sir.
anyways, don't worry, I will also help you to show some help file here. Okay, so these are the many things we'll cover up, and we'll go through your Abinitio, also good programming called as PTL, dynamic programming, metadata programming, that also will cover up at the end. And this is very important called M commands.
Yes, sir.
Like M commands is something in Ab Initio, it is utilized for your multi-file system. And this is all EME operations, check in and check out. So many things will cover up. So this was just a walkthrough. So let me just start a small introduction to Ab Initio. So what is ETL? I told you. Why ETL also I told you. As I told,
Yes, sir.
it is there to solve bigger problems, complex data, big data. Performance is good. It is scalable. And when we work in generic Oracle data, then many problems came. Pipeline break, performance issues, data is increasing. That's why we
Hmm.
went into ETL. Why Ab Initio? Because Ab Initio is the fastest, ETL tool, or you can say performance is very good. It is scalable. It is easy to use than any other ETL tools. Easy to use, I won't say, because easy, when you say it is Informatica talent, they are very much easy. Ab Initio is little bit complex because you'll write transform function here. You need to be a good
Hmm.
coder to know Ab Initio. Okay, so who are the competitors? You know this Informatica talent and all. Who is the owner of Ab Initio? It is Ab Initio Corp or Ab Initio Corporation. So
Okay.
this is the main area. Let's start. What is a environment of your architecture? So Ab Initio, the architecture is first. Let me cover the architecture. So you will have a GDE. What is
Yes, sir.
GDE?
Graphical
GDE is called a
development
graphical development
development
environment,
environment.
where on a daily, yeah, correct. So where daily a developer will log in and do some graph developments and save the graph in the local sandbox and
Yes,
check
sir.
in the graph to EME and come out. So if the questions are coming like what is sandbox, what is EME, we'll cover up that. Don't worry.
Yes, sir.
So now, means in a very common sense, you can tell when we have a GDE, definitely the GDE is running on a server, right? Because without a
Yes, sir.
server, without a host settings, you cannot run any software in this world. Even if all the softwares which are installing in your laptop, and that laptop is stored in your operating system called sorry, those softwares are installed in your operating system, say Windows 10 or whatever, then
Hmm.
they are also running in your one machine, your laptop machine, and that also has IP address.
Yes, sir.
Yes or no? If you go
Yes, sir.
to command line, you do IP config, you'll see your IP address, right? So
Yes, sir.
that means that is also a server where you are doing your normal laptop operation. So this world is like that. Only wherever you go for any software execution like Ab Initio or anything, you need a server first thing. So
Hmm.
Ab Initio will reside on a server. It will be installed in a server. So when it will fetch file from that server, or fetch some data from database from any other server, database
Yes,
is
sir.
in another server. Just imagine. So while doing so, just try to understand in a story basis. Okay, I know there will be a lot of questions. Will be clear in later sessions. Just understand
Okay.
now in a story basis.
Yes,
So
sir.
you are getting some files. You are getting some data from database from various servers, and your Ab Initio is in another server.
Hmm.
So how Ab Initio will interact with those servers? How Ab Initio will read the data? How Abinitio will utilize its components to transform the data and load the data in some other system, maybe into a file, into a table, or send a file to somebody. Okay, loading can be in any way. I can send you a file, I can load into your database, I can load into your file, anything I can do. So loading can be anything.
Yes, sir.
So to do that, intermediate is transformation. So transformation is done by ab initio ETL through
Yes, sir.
using the components inside a graph. Now, when
Yes,
you
sir.
build a graph, then who is the brain behind this GDE, who which will cooperate internally among all those components, all the servers where the file are there, database is there, or ab initio is there, and they have their own language. They can understand. They can interact, communicate among each other. Is cooperating system. So cooperating system is nothing but it's ab initio software, which is, you can say, it's a heart or brain, or you can say it is is a big boss of ab initio, without which nothing is possible. So we as a developer don't have to worry about cooperating system. Cooperating system is a software which will be installed by your admin into your server. You as a
Mm.
developer always have to like get into GD and you do your stuff. That's all.
Yes, sir.
And even admin also, they don't know what is the content of cooperating system. It is ab initio corporation. They only know what is a cooperating system, how they created inside there, what is there. Okay,
Okay.
suppose I'm telling an example. You today
Sir.
purchased a Dell laptop, a
Yes, sir.
high-end company. No, say you just purchased a okay, Dell laptop today. Okay, after
Mm.
1 year, you got some issues in the laptop, and you, as since you're a software engineer, you googled something, try to fix it. You fixed it somehow. Again, you
Mm.
got the error. Then finally, you lodge a complaint in Dell. They see
Yes,
this
sir.
is a software issue I'm getting on daily basis. I try to fix this, so it's not working. Then they'll support, okay, what they'll do, they'll say, okay, remotely I'll take your access, I'll be in the call and I'll try to fix it. That is one way.
Mm.
Other way is then he might come to your room and fix it. That is another way. Or he
Yes,
will
sir.
ask you, okay, take the laptop and bring the laptop to my office, we'll fix it. That's another way. So there is
Mm.
a third party person who is going to work for you. Yes or no?
Mhm. Yes, sir.
but but how, he will work only on the instructions which is provided from the Dell company.
Yes, sir.
But Dell company scientists, engineers, they only know in Dell, in at the hardware level, what is the problem where.
Mm.
Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Similarly, whenever we work in Avenues and Bed, you as a user, I'm telling you, you only
Sir.
work in GD. If there isn't
Yes.
any issue, your admin is there going to fix it. In there's connection settings, server issues, those kind of things, administration work. But they also don't know what is the cooperating system inside there, what is present. Okay, so
Yes,
that is
sir.
only Ab initio corporation will know. So that is none of our business. But as a
Mm.
architecture, since we are learning architecture fundamentals, so we know GD. GD is there. You, this user, you see my mouse. Okay,
Yes.
so
Yes,
this
sir.
user is you, me, and anybody who is accessing the GDE. We are creating
Mm.
all the graphs here. When graph is created, internally it will create a .ksh file for that
Yes,
graph,
sir.
and that is completely created by your cooperating system. And that
Mm.
cooperating system will interact your graph with your EME, with your DTM, with all the servers where your data store is present. How the components will run in the backend, how
Mm.
parallelism will be achieved, how your key configuration will happen, how key matching will happen, how sorting will be done, how
Mm.
duplicates will be removed. Everything this person will take care. But we should only create graphs in GD properly, so that everything will be taken care automatically by cooperating system. So
Yes, sir.
EME, I will tell you later, don't worry. EME sandboxes, I'll tell you.
Okay.
DTM is nothing but it is like a job scheduler. Okay, earlier
Okay.
days they were telling GTM, DTM.
Mm.
Nowadays we are selling job scheduler. So job scheduler means where they will schedule jobs.
Yes, sir.
So just giving a fundamental meaning of job scheduling. So Control
Mm.
M, Autosys are job scheduling tools in the market. Heavy, I mean high, what you say. The market is very good for Control M and Autosys. Most company access that. So what will happen is, suppose you created a Abinitio graph which will solve a
Mm.
problem in data, that will
Mm.
fetch say millions of records today, and it will do some transformation and it will load into a table. Okay,
Okay.
and that
Okay.
is every morning 10 a.m. you have to do. I'm giving an example. So when
Yes,
every
sir.
morning 10 a.m. you have to do. So is it a wise thing you will come every day, log in into a GD, run the graph at 10 a.m. and you go. Again tomorrow you come and run the GD at 10 a.m. and you go. That is not a wise thing, right? So you have to
Yes, sir.
automate it. So automate means automatically it will run every 10 a.m. and it will do its work. It will read 100 millions of data and you'll write into file and it'll stop execution. Again tomorrow 10 a.m. it will do same thing. It will keep doing for 365 days. So to automate that, we have a job scheduler. Okay, so how
Sir.
job scheduler will work is, your ab initio graph will be actually stored in one wrapper, Unix wrapper script. Okay, so Unix wrapper script will be you say it will be established, or it will be scheduled in your job scheduler. So whenever daily your job scheduler will run, your Unix script will be called, and Unix script internally will call your Ab initio graph, and an ab initio graph will run at that time on and off. That's all. Any doubt here?
No, sir.
Good. So now coming to the architecture. So
Sir.
as I told you that front view of architecture, this is the internal view of architecture. So this is the Unix server on which your Ab initio operating system is installed. I told you, right? Operating system will
Yes,
be
sir.
installed in your server. So this operating system install means your Ab initio install. Okay.
Okay.
Then after that, this is the entire GDE portion. This one, application
Yes, sir.
development environment is not. This is called graphical, which is GDE, and this is
Yes, sir.
component library, user defined components, third party components. So these all are present inside your GDE. That's why
Okay.
operating system will interact with your all those this component library and this GDE stuff, and will interact with this operating system, sorry, what is it called, operating system, where server, where your operating system will install, and internally it will solve all those work.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you created a graph and you scheduled in a job scheduler, right? That's called application here.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so ab initio metadata repository means it is the EME.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yeah.
so since I have already told EME 2 3 times, let me tell you EME now, so it will be clear.
Yes, sir.
So So I'm giving an example. Suppose there is a factory, there is a factory which is creating. Suppose you have your factory which is manufacturing T-shirts. Okay.
Okay. Hmm.
So when you're manufacturing T-shirts, just tell me, don't you think you will have employees, you will have your
Yes,
machineries in one factory? So that is a
yes,
very factory form where only manufacturing is happening.
yes, sir.
Now, just inside the factory, you have kept a separate room which is called store area.
Hmm.
As soon as your products are developed, all the individual employees, they store
Hmm.
it in the storage room, and they have here dedicated shelf racks. So there is one employee, employee one, employee two, employee three. So employee one, what all task he has done, he's storing in employee one rack or
Hmm.
shelf. Employee
Yes,
two
sir.
is storing in employee two rack. So what's the reason for that? So that distinction will be there. Nobody will mess up with this is my product, this is your product. They won't mess up. They will know. Employee one will say, see, whatever work I have done, I kept my shirts, t-shirt, my cotton, everything here. Employee two
Yes,
will say, I've kept it here. So no distinction, no confusion, no quarrel, no fight and everything, right?
sir.
Nobody will interfere when anybody's work. So security will be there, independency will be there, no confusion, no conflicts, no issues. That's why, right? So at the
Yes,
same time, say tomorrow your employees are leaving your factory and you are hiring new employees. Okay,
hmm.
so and your volume of products are also increasing day by day in the factory. So you
Yes,
made
sir.
up your mind, okay, I'll create a warehouse, separate warehouse, a storage area which is large bigger than my manufacturing unit in a different place, and that
Hmm.
will only help in storing my all the dresses distinctly for all the employees. Like employee one, another rack, employee two, different racks will be there, or different shelf will be there,
Yes, sir.
and nobody can access each other. And also, if the volume is increasing, that will be stored there in the safe side. And whoever is coming next time to work, he can suppose employee one left, employee one, you got a replacement for that. So employee one
Okay.
replacement, another guy who came, he can simply go open that self and see what all employee employee one has completed his task. Then he will
Hmm.
start on top of that, or he will refer those things and he will restart something,
Hmm. Yes, sir.
or he'll do on top of something. Yes or no?
Yes,
Just
yes, sir.
practically imagine. So
Yes, sir.
that
Yes.
means somewhere try to understand there is a reference work happening here. Your older
Hmm.
version of things are there, and new guy is coming, he's taking care of the old version and
Wonderful, sir.
again creating new versions. And if he's
Yes,
leaving, then another guy is coming again referring all these versions and again taking care of next version. So this is
yes,
called
sir.
version controlling. So EME is all about version controlling. So whenever you create a graph in GDE,
Sir.
a graph that is called as object.
Okay.
Anything in Ab initio you create is called object. Your graph is object. You
Okay.
create a record format for it to read your data. Record format like string, integer, decimal, var string. Yes, those things, right? So these are
Yes,
the
sir.
data types for each fields, right?
Okay.
So this
Hmm.
right? Good. So these data types for each field is called a record format. So when you
Okay.
called a record format, you store it in another file called DML file, .dml file.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that is also called object. So anything you create in Ab initio, it's an object. So those objects initially when you create, you store
Hmm.
it for your development, research and development, R&D purpose, daily running and testing purpose in your local sandbox, means in a local
Okay.
directory in your server. Simple as it
Okay.
is. Only you
Okay.
can access that local directory. Then Finally, when you finalize that code, my testing is okay, my object is okay, it is all finalized, no bugs in that. I want to promote into the next environment called from development to test environment or from test to production environment, whatever it is. Simply your code
Yes,
is finalized and you want to submit the code to another environment from your development environment. Then you have to make the code and do a transfer from your local sandbox, means local directory, to your EME server.
yes, sir.
So once into EME, your this object will go, it will reside there permanently forever. So now the object is secured for an organization. It is that purpose. Secured, secured, secured. So next time whoever comes, he can check out that object. This is called check-in, check-out. First you created, you kept it in EME. That is called check-in. I came tomorrow, I want to check out and see that object. That's called check-out. Or today you check in, tomorrow again you check out and you can work on it. And again you save and again you can check on, check in.
Yes, sir.
So as many times you checking, that many versions will be stored in your EME. So you call it as a version controlling. Okay, so
Yes, sir.
local SAN, don't confuse, it is the local directory where you create subjects and you store it. EME is the
Okay.
global thing. It is the it is another storage area, a primary storage, where your final versions are stored, and as many as versions of for a particular object you can keep it. So suppose you created a graph called employee.mp. So
Mm,
.mp just telling you it is an extension of your graph. So
mm,
employee.mp, you store it in EME today. Tomorrow you check out, again you do some changes, again you check in, again check out. You can do as many times as you can. But generally how it happens is we keep on developing testing in our local sandbox for many days on many test data. One is approved, then we save the graph, we save it on daily basis, then finally we
yes, sir.
check in into the EME and we make it a finalized one. Then suppose there
Mm,
is again a minimal change, okay, check out, again do the changes, again check in, so that that
okay.
version will be safely stored in the EME. And all the versions, how many times you check in a particular employee.mp, that many times
Mm,
you will have the versions of that employee.mp. So this is
okay.
all about version controlling, nothing. Okay, so any doubt in this architecture, any doubt?
No, sir. No, no, sir.
Good, very good. So I was talking in the initial today morning, like Abinitio's performance is very good. So the question is, okay, what Abinitio is doing that much better? It is so expensive and the performance is good. It is doing called as data parallelism, pipeline parallelism, and component parallelism. So these
Sir.
are the three areas for which Abinitio is on the top. Only for these properties I'm telling you, dude. These three properties: data parallelism, pipeline parallelism, and component parallelism. Only for these things.
Yes,
In
sir.
your entire life, in your entire career, whenever you work in Abinitio, you will work on data parallelism, pipeline parallelism, and component parallelism. That's all.
Yes, sir.
Whenever you develop a graph, when you become more senior, you will work on performance improvements. You become a team leader. Again, you have to think of these three fundamentals only.
Okay.
You'll never it will leave you. So
Sir.
data parallelism is what? So coming to this is complete theoretical, I'm telling you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. When you start developing graphs in my tutorial, then you will come to know how data parallelism is working, how
Sir.
pipeline is working, how component is working. So let me tell you the theory. So data
Okay.
parallelism means, as the word says, parallelly distribute my data and run it. It means that data parallelism, two words.
Okay.
Parallelism means something happening parallel on the data. That's all,
Data.
two words. So just an example, I have given you 100 records to process today in a file.
Okay.
Bro, take this 100 records in my file, do some transformation, and load into my employee table.
Mm,
So you did it. You took that file. It was just a flat file. You did it, and now you came with a smarter way. Sir, they took me 1 hour to complete.
mm,
Can't we do it in 15 minutes? Then I
mm.
say 15 minutes means you are saying 1/4 of the reduction in 1 hour. Yes or no?
Yes.
14, 15
Yes.
into 4 is 60 minutes.
Yes.
Then to make the task 1/4 means I mean make the time come down to 1/4 and increase the task by 4 times. It is only
Mm.
possible when I take 4 people, including you.
Yes,
So
sir.
when now 4 people are there, you are also one of them, then what will happen? I will distribute 25, 25, 25, 25.
Yes, sir.
So now 4 people will start at the perfect time at the same time, and they will work on 25 records at a time. So what will happen? You will see your task completed in 15 minutes.
Yes, sir.
So, so because why it happened is because you started processing the data parallelly, distributing in 4 different
Mm.
flows. Okay, so that is
Sir.
called data parallelism. So ab initio, how? So this is a story thing I'm telling you, theoretical thing. So in ab initio, how it will be? There will be components who will split those data into 4 partitions,
Mm.
same data,
Yes, sir.
and your data will run parallelly, and we call this data parallelism. So your
Okay.
performance will increase to y. And this is nothing. In production, we should run 64 way. 64 way in Hadoop integration when I worked in Hadoop project long back. So that time we were partitioning the data in 64 way.
Mm-hmm.
That means a single data at a time was split into 64 times equally.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so and 64 processors were running parallelly to
Okay.
make the data very fast, because that is big data Abinitio integration project. That was very big project. Anyways, so pipeline parallelism. Pipeline is, see bro, suppose you are standing in a queue. Just
Yes, sir.
imagine
Mm.
you are there, in front of you another guy is there, and in
Mm.
front of you another guy is there, and in front of that, suppose a bank cashier is there. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
suppose you are in a medical emergency now.
Yes, sir.
All of a sudden you got a call, please come back to home, or something happened, we have to go to medical.
Mm.
Then and you saw only two people are there, so you took a decision, okay, I have come, let me deposit the money and go back. So you just told to the next guy in front of you, bro, I'm in a hurry, I got some medical emergency, I need your help. He said, okay, what's the help? Hey, you please take the money and just transfer to the next guy. He will transfer to the cashier. Cashier will receive, and
Mm.
I will finish up my task and I'll go. Okay. Then I'm just giving an example. Realistically, this won't happen obviously, because in bank they won't do in this way. I'm just telling.
Mm, sir.
So just imagine your cash when it is going from you to the next person to the next person. If it is going completely in one phase without any break, one point to another point, then it easily it will reach to the cashier. Then you go to the cashier, you just sign up the paper and you come back.
Yes, sir.
Okay. But if somebody say your first person has taken your cash and he has given to the next person, but the next person is saying, okay, wait, let me finish my transaction, then I will give you. So don't you think there will be again 2 to 3 minutes delay?
Yes,
Obviously
sir.
there is no delay, because he is saying just give me 2 minutes, let me finish my transaction, then I will just push your cash into the cash department.
Okay.
So pipeline is there should not be any breakage. From
Okay.
point to
Yes.
point to point components, your data should keep flowing.
Okay.
Keep flowing. I send the data to you, you should send the data to the next person. Next person should send that to the next person. Means in Abinitio there will be a lot of components, right?
Yes, sir.
So once your data comes from one component to another component, another, so it should be in continuous parallel way. What is parallel way? Means all the components are accessing the same data records parallelly. When
Okay.
your first record is going from component A to component B, you should be
Mm.
reaching component C. By the time by the time record 2 has already entered component A to B to C.
Okay.
Did you get my point?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Me, what I'm saying is, this is A, this is B, this is C. So what I'm saying is, when record 1 came
Mm.
from A,
Mm.
immediately it goes to B, it goes to C.
Yes, sir.
Nowhere it is waiting. So
Okay.
this first
Mm.
record parallelly has been processed by 3 records simultaneously. I'm saying A to B,
Okay.
B to C, fatafat. By the
Okay.
time this one has reached B, na, two has
Mm.
already started.
Okay.
Two are already started coming here. So
Yes, sir.
when one was at C,
Mm.
okay, when one at C, there is a high chances two would have already reached B.
Okay.
So that two will reach C immediately as soon as this completes one.
Okay.
So one after that to the other, na, from component to component should not stop, point to
Yes.
point. So
Yes, sir.
that's a point to point parallelism between all the components called parallelism,
Okay.
pipeline
Fine.
parallelism. In a pipeline, your data should flow from one component to the another component to the next component parallelly
Mm.
without any breakage anywhere, so that next record will start processing immediately.
Okay.
Hope you understand.
Yes, sir. I understand, sir.
Component parallelism. Good, thank you. Component parallelism, you know what? Component parallelism is, it's something very uh, important thing. So just imagine, it is bit relative to your data parallelism. You can relate now.
Okay.
So
Yes,
the
sir.
component parallelism is bit relative to your data parallelism. So
Mm.
suppose, as you said, this is component A, B, and
Mm.
C.
Yes,
So
sir.
these three components are processing record one. Then record one has come here, A to B. Then
Mm.
by the time B has one, already two has got two.
Okay.
Then by the time one has come to C, two
Yes,
has
sir.
come to B. Then
B.
by the time C completes one, two comes to C.
C. Yes, sir.
So you try to understand, this pipeline is now achieved in a single data stream.
Yes, sir.
So when I told you I will internally distribute my data into various flows or various partitions, my processing will increase. That example I gave you, right? Four people
Yes.
working on 100 records, 25, 20, 25, your task increases, right? So just
Okay. Yes, sir.
imagine I will take four copies of these components. First copy,
Yes.
second copy, third copy, fourth copy. So what
Mm.
will happen, when your first record is already processing here, pipeline wise, pipeline is happening. Your second record is not coming again to A when B is having one. Second record has
Okay.
already entered in this copy. Third record is
Okay.
already here. Fourth record
Okay.
already here. So again, in
Mm.
one first minute example,
Mm.
when previously we were processing only one record, now in 1 minute we are processing four records.
Okay.
So four
Yes, sir.
times processing
Mm.
increased. So that is something Ab initio will do internally. In your graph, you will create only three components, but
Mm.
internally by the co-operating system, very
Mm.
internally, which you cannot see ever, that will
Mm.
create three copies more. Internally,
Mm.
four copies will be created, but in a graph, you will see only one copy, bro.
Yes,
You
sir.
see only one graph you have created, and you have
Mm.
maintained that parallelism, component parallelism. So
Mm.
internally, it will create four copies and process that way, which example I told you. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so that is called component parallelism. So the question is how this is happening. That is called a
Mm.
multi-file system in Ab initio, which helps to do this. So that I will
Mm.
tell you in the upcoming session.
Okay.
Multi-file system is the main thing behind data parallelism, component parallelism. So remain in mind, to achieve data parallelism, to achieve component parallelism, you should know
Mm.
what is a multi-file system. I'll tell you.
Okay.
Okay. So here it came multi-file.
Yes, sir.
So multi-file is a parallel file that is composed of individual files.
Yes, sir.
So I told I have given you one file, one that is called a
Mm.
one flat serial file in Ab initio, serial file. So one file will have 100 records. But tomorrow, to make the things faster, I will split into four 25s, right? 25, 20, 20,
Yes,
20. So
sir.
how will I do? I'll give you MFS file, which is called multi-file
Okay.
system file. So
Okay.
that MFS file, when you open that file in Unix using our
Mm.
Unix commands, M
Mm.
commands, you will
Mm.
see it has internally four distributors, four partitions. So internally
Yes, sir.
25, 25, 25, 25 will be there. So
Mm.
when you apply that file in your Ab initio graph, when it will fetch
Mm.
the records, when it will read the records from that MFS file inside your Ab initio graph,
Yes, sir.
internally this will happen. These four copies of same components will be created because I have given you a MFS file which has four partitions
Okay.
of data.
Yes, sir.
Means 25, 25, 25, 25.
Okay.
You had any idea on this or confusion is there? Tell me. People get confused in MFS.
No, 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 sir. I've referred YouTube videos, sir. That's why I'm getting this one.
Okay, but you understand, right?
Yes, sir. And I understand, sir.
Okay, so just try to understand that is called a serial file, that is called a
Mm.
multi-file. Serial
Yes,
file
sir.
means one file having all the records, so processing
Yes.
will be slow, simple as it is. Multi-file
Okay.
is one file, that serial file has been distributed four times equally, so that
Okay.
your processing becomes fast, and Ab initio will understand that, and internally it will create four copies of the same components, so which will run
Mm.
parallelly, achieving
Mm.
component parallelism, achieving data parallelism,
Yes, sir.
both. So that's the fundamental of it. Okay, good. So
No, sir.
similarly, partitioning will done in Ab initio in very ways. Like a round robin partitioning will be there. Partition on ranges, function on keys
Functions.
in broadcast they will be there. Components I'll process all. I mean I'll provide you all those in the real time training. So
Okay.
this is a host setting. What is called a
Mm.
host setting? Host setting means nothing but your, as I told you in this, going back to this architecture, your Ab initio operating system is there, Ab initio operating system is there, right? So it is
Yes.
interacting between your operating system and all your GD stuff, right? So that
Okay.
interaction has to be done through a host set through settings in your Ab initio environment, GD environment, which is called a
Mm.
host settings here.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so once you do this, automatically your connection will be established between your Ab initio server and your
Yes, sir.
GDE and Ab initio server. Okay, that's a basic thing we have to do. That's all. Component. What is a component? A
Yes, sir.
component is a program which can run on any computer, any system, different components to different objects.
Different
So I will tell you in one liner. Component is it is nothing but it is a program which is done by created by Ab initio, which you are going to use in your graph to solve a
Mm.
problem.
Yes,
Suppose
sir.
your name is Ravindra, your name is
Ready.
Ravindra, but I
Yes, sir.
want to strip your data from Ravindra to Ravi. So I have to strip
Okay.
RAVI from Ravindra 1 to 4.
Okay.
So I'll use a function called string substring. So use a
Okay.
string substring from 1 to 4 Ravi. I have to
Mm.
you call a component in Ab initio called reformat. It will format the data. It is called
Okay.
reformat. So that
Okay.
is a component. So Ravindra is four times in one my file. Ravindra. That is duplicate. I want to take only one copy of Ravindra. So I will remove duplicates. So there is a
Yes.
component called dedupe component. Dedupe
Okay.
component. So that will do this work. So component is there to solve a problem.
Okay.
Suppose you want to normalize the data. Normalize the
Mm.
data means from a denorm data you have to normalize. Okay, that is
Okay.
little, once you start learning Abinitio will tell you, difficult to tell you, but I'm just telling you in a very low manner. Like you have
Okay.
one Ravindra, you want to make four Ravindra out of it, so you can make four
Okay.
Ravindra out of it using normalization. So it's something like that. So the many components are there which will use their own purpose, and they're
Mm.
helpful, and they are called programs. EMA, I already told you, it's a storage here, it's a version controller, and there are also data lineage and data dependencies happening in EME. So this is nothing but again like a story. So data lineage means, see, when you created a graph and you are,
Mm.
in a graph, I told you component A to B to C2 is happening, right? So that means that data is flowing from A point to B point, B point to C point. Okay, that is
Yes, sir.
called a lineage of data, flow your data from one component to another component, or from your source file system to your last target system, where which all path it has flown, what all components it has crossed, from which port to which port it has gone, from which file to another file created, from next file to another file which is created, and finally it is loaded to somewhere. That entire flow of your data in your entire graph is called a data lineage, which EME will show you.
Okay.
Okay, dependency analysis means, I told you, right? You created a job which will schedule in a job scheduler, and it will run 10 a.m. every day, right? So just
Okay.
imagine, before 10 a.m. there is another job which will run at 9 a.m., which will
Mm.
create certain files, and that files will be read from the job which you created at 10 a.m., and it will load into a table. Okay, so 10 a.m.
Okay.
your job is reading some files and loading into table, but reading those files is happening, is created, those files which you are reading in your file at 10 a.m., that files are created by another preprocessor job which is creating those files at 9 a.m.
Yes,
So
sir.
you are creating some files at 9 a.m., you are job A, I am job B, I am reading those files at 9 a.m. Sorry, you created at 9 a.m., I am reading those files at 10 a.m. and loading into a
Mm.
table. So these two
Okay.
jobs are there. There's a dependency. If today you don't
Depends.
create a file, my job will fail because I'm searching for that file. I'm not getting the file in the server. And my job
Okay.
is searching. Where is the file? There's no file. My graph will fail. So
Okay.
that means my job is dependent on your job, because you will create the file, then only I will get the file, then only I load into a table. So this is
Yes,
called
sir.
dependency analysis. That is also done by EME. So how it happens, today you created a graph and you did a check-in into the EME.
Mm.
Okay, your
Mm.
previous employee or your other employee who's sitting next to you, he has
Mm.
created the other first job which is running at 9 a.m., and he has also done check-in into the EME. So he
Okay.
did a check-in to EME, you also done a check-in to EME. So his version is for his job, your version is for your job.
Mm.
Okay, so once you check in your graph, that time a big message will show in the EME when you check in into EME. I'll show you
Mm.
all those things towards our session. That time it will
Okay.
show warning, dependency analysis found. You have checked in this object. You didn't check in the other object, means the 9 name object, because it will auto relate EME.
Okay.
So that time you can ignore those, because that is not my development work. As per this new requirement, I need to only develop this. Let me ignore. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
so this is only warning. So this is called dependency analysis. So even dependency analysis you can do through AR command. AR hyphen dependency hyphen analysis command is there. You can
Yes, sir.
trigger and you can do dependency analysis in the backend Unix server also, to know what are dependencies there for this object which I am going to check in tomorrow into AME. Suppose you are going
Okay.
to check in an object today, tomorrow into
Sir.
AME. So you want to see, okay, I'm going to do some changes in this object and I'm going to check into the AME. Before that, let me see, boss, some dependencies are there. Maybe we need to do some changes on other objects as well. Just think.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then you have to do a dependency analysis check. So through AR command you can do. So AR command is nothing but a ab initio inbuilt function commands which is
Mm.
there to deal with EME. That's all.
Okay.
To deal with
Yes, sir.
EME, you need some commands to run in the Unix server in your putty, backend putty. You need some commands which have been predefined by Abinitio, EME controlled commands called AR commands, AR commands.
Yes, sir.
So suppose I'm telling you another scenario. Your
Sir.
10 name job is reading the files which is created by 9 name job. Okay.
Okay.
So now 9 name job, what happened in so the change which came to you is 10 name job. It was reading a file called employee.dat, but now it will run a file called customer.dat. There's a change.
Okay.
Okay. So you are going to change the file name in your graph.
Okay.
Then again you are going to check in into the EME. Before
Mm.
that you did a dependency analysis using your AR command in your Unix server,
Mm.
and you saw, okay, there is a
Mm.
dependency with a job which is called another job at 9 name. So you quickly
Okay.
go and check out the 9 name job. You can check out. Okay,
Yes, sir.
once you check out, you say, okay, boss, this is creating the file, and here it is creating employee. So if I check in my job tomorrow and run it, then it will search for new
Mm.
file customer. So it will fail
Yes, sir.
again. Okay, then
Yes, sir.
I have to change the source job also. So I have to
Yes, sir.
make the file name change over there as well. Yes or
Yes,
no?
sir.
So
Yes, sir.
their
Yes, sir.
dependency analysis works. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so sandbox, as I told you, it's a local directory in your server where you will
Yes,
store
sir.
your development graphs. You will do R&D, you will do testing, everything in the starting phase. That's a sandbox. Any doubt
Okay.
here?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, then it will go to EMA. So
Sir.
inside your sandbox, there will be various folders: DB folder, bin folder, DML folder, MP folder. So all this
Yes,
I'll
sir.
cover up. Just I'm telling you high level. MP will store your graphs.
Yes,
.mp.
sir.
I told you, right? .mp extension for
Yes,
graphs.
sir.
DML, I told you, record format, string,
Yes,
integer.
sir.
So those things which you created for your file to read. So employee or customer file when you're reading. So what would you
Hmm.
have? Employee will have employee ID, employee name,
Yes, sir.
employee salary.
Yes, sir.
Salary will be said say integer. Employee name
Hmm.
will be string. ID will be integer. So these things
Yes,
you
sir.
have to store in a DML file to read that
Okay.
file. So this is called DML. DB means
Hmm.
database connection files, configuration files like .dbc file. It is called a .dbc file. It is
Okay.
ab
Dot
initio
DBC.
dot file. Yeah, that will do your establishment of your graph to your
Hmm.
database. Okay, and
Sir.
bin is nothing but your folder which will store your executable files. Executable file means I told you, right, ab initio will be scheduled. It will be stored in one wrapper. A wrapper
Yes, sir.
will be scheduled in your job scheduler and it will run daily basis, right? So that wrapper we store it in the bin folder.
Okay.
Okay, and run when if you go back to this architecture, if you
Sir.
remember, I told you, whenever you create a graph, you
Yes,
save
sir.
it, it will automatically create a
Yes. Dot
.ksh
cases.
file for that
Yes,
graph.
sir. You know,
So
sir.
that .ksh file will be stored in your run folder.
Acha, okay.
Okay. XFR means the transformation I'm doing, right? From Ravindra, I stripped only Ravi, right? So that
Yes, sir.
function which will do string substr, if you want to store in one generic file and I can
Okay.
use it any point of time, so that I called a XFR file.
Except for.
Okay. Yeah. So these things you'll come to know once the training starts in brief. So Ab
Okay.
initio, what are the achievements it has done?
Hmm.
Okay. Ab initio, yeah, this is called XFR. In doubt here, you're asking XFR, you tell
No,
me.
no, sir. No, sir.
Okay. So Ab initio Hadoop integration is there. Ab initio Salesforce integration is there. Ab initio Cloud AWS is there.
Cloud.
PDL is there. Metaprogramming is there. Continuous is there. Plans is there. Conducted is there. Sorry,
Yes, sir.
Explicit is there. CIP is there. So these are all Ab initio suites products which have been development so far.
Okay.
Okay. So luckily, I have worked on all those except one that is called AWS, because
Okay.
this is like introduced only within last 1.5 year, and
Hmm.
till now you can say 0.00001% organization in the entire world have started working on ab initio cloud AWS.
Cloud.
This
Yes, sir.
cloud AWS. Till now nobody has implemented. Nobody.
Hmm.
So I didn't get a project to work on this. Apart from this, everything luckily I've got to work.
Okay.
Okay, so
Okay.
this is all about very theoretical on ab initio. Any doubt on this theory portion
No,
today?
sir. No,
Then
sir.
we'll go to the graph. Okay,
It's clear, sir.
so let's straight, yeah, good, very good. So now let's straight away move into the ab initio
Yes.
environment. Okay, so it's coming, yeah. So this
Okay.
in this GD environment, you can see this is the component library. Okay, all
Yes,
those
sir.
components are there. So
Hmm.
here it is like you can go to the run and you have to do this settings initially, where you will do this host connection settings over there. You
Hmm.
click edit. This all settings we'll do initially. So
Okay.
we'll do it together. Don't worry. So this
Okay.
is like a sandbox, local sandbox. I told you local sandbox is what? It's a local directory where you do your
Local
R&D
directory,
stuff.
all graphs are
Save.
stored.
Yeah, yeah. Stored means the developer does the R&D over there and stores the graph for testing purpose, changing purpose, development purpose, debugging purpose, whatever. Then later on, it moves to EME. So this is my sandbox. Okay, hold on. I selected the wrong one. So inside this ab initio, you can see I've created some my directories like MP here, XFR here, run here. I've created all
Except
those
for
directories,
this
right?
MP.
Now, suppose I'm taking a simple example today, so that not
Sir.
to put you into more complexity. So I have a file called customer profile file. So if I open
Okay.
this file, view the data.
ID, name, email, phone, city.
So what is that you see here? Your
And
name is
ID
Ram
name.
Shankar. Your 100 employee number. Yeah, email, phone
Yes,
number,
sir.
city is there, country is there.
Yes, sir.
So so some transformation will happen here. Like let
Hmm.
me run this. So let me open both the data sets. Okay, so
Yes,
see
sir.
in your source file, first have look into the source file. You have a
Yes,
name called Ram Shankar, your email
yes,
ID.
sir.
So
Yes,
Ram
sir.
Shankar I've now split into two ways: Ram Shankar, Ram and Shankar, first name and last name.
Yes,
Jack
sir.
Gray was there, now Jack Gray is also there, full name.
Jack.
Then Jack and Gray is also there. So I'm
Yes, sir.
splitting all the names into first name and last name. This is my
Okay.
requirement, so I did that.
Okay.
So this is like how I did that. So I went into my component called reformat. Reformat is the component which is used to format your data, as I told you before. So
Yes, sir.
inside
Yes,
the
sir.
reformat, there's called a parameters tab. Okay,
Okay.
parameters tab. This is called, see, reformat. If you double click, you can open the property section, or
Yes,
you
yes,
right
sir.
click, you can go to this properties as well, like here properties. Anyway,
Last
either
click.
way you
Okay.
can do. Yeah. So you can go to this parameters. So count
Hmm.
is one. Count is one means only one output you want. If I increase
Okay.
2, 3, 4, 5, then that many outputs can come out. Means that
Okay.
many
Okay.
output files I can create.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Yes, sir.
So yeah, yeah. So I want only one output file. So one count, then one
Hmm.
transfer means when I am going to split this Ram Shekhar into Ram and Shekhar, both different fields like first name and last name, two different columns. So
Okay.
definitely I am transferring the data. So
Yes, sir.
transferring the data is happening through this property called transform function. So
Yes, sir.
here this is a transform function. So this I have written here.
Hmm.
Okay, so I have taken some of the in Abinitio also we have called variables called local variables. These are local variables I have created, and these are
Yes, sir.
some functions which I've used in Abinitio like string lrtrim, string index, in r index.
Okay.
So lrtrim will trim your data like the spaces. It will remove index will, it will take the number 1 2 3 4 number of the space you have.
Yes.
Okay, then r
Yes, sir.
index it will also take the number of your space, like that. Using
Hmm.
the space number and your trimming of data will utilize here calculating your
Hmm.
first and last name. So this is again the main
Yes, sir.
function
I
of
understood.
substring. Okay, yeah, so these
Yes,
all
sir.
things you have to do, and you have to calculate, and it's just a simple reformat. Okay, and this is how you have to do,
Okay.
and this is how Ivan issue works.
Okay.
Okay, let me close this. Okay, and even there are other possibilities if you want to store this graph somewhere. Okay, like
Hmm.
permanently, and you can utilize this graph in another graph that is
Hmm.
called reusable graphs. You can create that.
Okay.
Okay, and suppose you want to this reformat transform is there, right?
Hmm.
Every time you're typing this, right? You're in with your hands you're typing every time, right? Manually you're typing with, right? So
Yes, sir.
suppose you want to store in a xfr file. I was telling you about xfr
Okay.
file, right? You store it
Yes,
in
sir.
xfr file, and you name a xfr file to it. Then every time you can just call the xfr file from here, you can run that. And there's something
Yes,
called
sir.
ports.
Yes, sir.
Ports means input and output. Input means I told you record format, right? To read this
Yes, sir.
data, you need a record
Hmm.
format for this. So
Okay.
record format is like something. Okay, for
Yes,
ID,
sir.
I have created decimal, string,
Yes.
string, decimal, string, string. This all is called record format.
Okay.
Inside this
Okay.
statement is called a delimiter. Delimiter means how your data is separated inside the file. Okay, this is
Okay.
called delimiter.
Delimiter.
Okay, yeah. So output ports is something like this. Again, my data is like this. It's something like this. These are also
Yes, sir.
delimited. Now this data, whatever I have created, I have stored in a file. You can see customer
Yes, sir.
profile.dml. So this
Demo.
.dml file, yeah, and this graph is completely called. If you go to file, You
Yes,
will
sir.
see something like here. You can right click on this, and you can go to this properties also.
Properties.
Okay. So the graph name is reform and name
Format
separation.
name
So this is
separation. Yes,
actually
sir.
dot. Yeah, so, yeah, this is a dot
Yes,
file.
sir.
Okay,
Yes,
dot
sir.
mp file.
Dot MP file. Okay.
So this is called, yeah, this is called this one you see, right? This
Yes, sir.
one where I'm holding the mouse. So click
Yes.
that. This is called all the ports you can see: reject port, error port, load
Okay.
port. Reject port is from 16 records. Suppose one record got rejected, you can take a again drag and create another file here, and you can store the
Yes, sir.
reject file. Again, you can
Yes,
drag,
sir.
you can create another file here, which will store your error file. Means
Yes,
it
sir.
will contain your error message for which this rejection happened, and
Yes, sir.
log, it will keep a log of all the records. Okay, this all.
Okay.
So you can disable this again back. Okay, and this is
Yes,
something
sir.
called phase enabler. If you enable this, then you will see the phases over here, 0000. Okay, so that
Yes, sir.
phases is something in abbreviation. It's called like all your components are running in your first phase. Phase means what? Means first step, second step, like that. So
Yes, sir.
when you are keeping this three component in all one phase, so your all the components will run in together simultaneously. So you are maintaining the pipeline over here. Okay.
Okay.
So suppose you want to change some phases, like you can select this two in one phase. So you can increase this. Sorry, you can make this phases like this. You can. Sorry, you can select this and you can increase this. So from 0 to 1, you will have you have completed 0 to 1. Sorry, 0 you complete first, then 1 will complete. Means first it will
Okay.
read the file and transform the data. Then in the first second phase, means after 0 1 is there, right? It will write the data. So
Yes,
this
sir.
way you are distinctively you are distributing your task in Abinitio. This is first phase, zero phase. But
Okay.
if you keep all those in one phase, so it will be easy. Like as soon as it reads one record, it will come here. As soon as it reads second record, it will come here. It will
Yes,
by
sir.
transforming through reformer. So that is
Okay.
more
Reliable.
performance specific. We should keep all those in one phase. Okay,
Yes, sir.
that performance and all, that's a high level thing. I'll cover up later on once you finish
Okay.
up our Abinitio training. So that is how it is. More complex things are also there. If you see, I can show you many things, but suppose suppose this is another graph. Let me show you. So this is a transaction file. Okay, if you
Okay.
view the data, it will be something like this. It will be like your amount is there, or date of transaction is there, so your
Yes,
ID
sir.
is there. So ID 100 person guy means employee ID 100 did a 350 purchase on January 1 2021.
Okay.
So
Okay,
if I
sir.
run the data now, so if you run the data here, let me show you the output. So let me show you the output here, input data here. Okay, you just see this input and output data, you will have a clear picture. So
Yes,
your
sir.
ID 100 was there, he did a
Mm.
350 purchase. So here
Okay.
if a double click sorted, okay. So see my 100, this my transaction divided by 100. Just see it carefully.
Okay.
So he did 350, 150, 50, 50, 100. So so
Mm.
this is like file, right? So I sorted in this
Yes,
component.
sir.
So what will happen, right? So what will happen, right? In this inside the 100 record, all the key
Mm.
group. This is called a group now, and the key is ID.
Okay.
So inside this 100,
Okay.
your amount will be again in the ascending order. Sorry, ascending order, right? Okay. So it will be like 350 you see here. So after that 500
Yes,
is
sir.
there, right? So after
Yes, sir.
350, 500 is there. So when you
You have
purchase
sorted it.
500, so previous data which was no, it is not sorted. What I'm saying is for 100 employees, only for 100,
Mm.
all those 350,
Mm.
150 and 5500 transactions were there, right? So what
Yes, sir.
all transactions were done in the previous amount I'm showing you. Suppose this is 500 I purchased on January 3. So on
Okay.
January 1 I purchased 350. So with
Okay.
500 I'm going to 350 amount here as well, which was done in previous day. Similarly, today
Okay.
I have purchased 50. Yesterday I have done
Hmm.
500 purchase here, so I am also showing 500 here. Today
Okay.
I have done 150 purchase. So yesterday I have done 50. So with 150 I am showing 50 here. So what I am going to say you example here in a
Sir.
component called scan, which I'll tell you in Abinitio later.
Okay.
So
Hmm.
scan component will work on a record on a cumulative basis. So I'm utilizing that property and I am taking output where along with today's transactions I'm able to show you previous transactions. So for with
Hmm.
500 I'm going to show you 350. With 50 I'm going to show you 500. With 150 I'm going to show 50. Similarly for
Okay.
200, now 250 second day 200 made a purchase of 50. So previous day it was 250. So 50 and 250 came here. Then again 200,
Hmm.
500 and 50 came here because 50 was there.
Okay. Yes,
Similarly
sir.
here 450 is there. Previous day 500 was there. So with 450 500 is there. So
500
I'm
is there.
going to show you example with the current sale what was my previous sale. So that
Okay.
is happening through my scan component. So what is
Scan
scan and
company.
why I'm sorting the data, I will tell you in the real classes. You got some idea at least from input
Yes,
output
sir.
comparison what I'm
Yes,
doing.
sir.
Yeah?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good, very good. So inside scan, if you go, so we have expansion mode of scan, which is called expanded mode of scan. So you
Okay.
assign some temporary variables, you initialize those variables, you call the scan function, you do the finalize function.
Okay.
Okay. So for every scan function, your finalize function will call once, and
Hmm.
your initial and temporary variables will be initialized every time for
Hmm.
each incoming records inside scan.
Okay.
Okay. So this is how it is. So any doubt?
No, sir. It's clear.
Okay, that's all from my side today. Just a demo
Okay.
session.
Okay.
So you discuss with Ashish.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Sure.
Okay, Ravi. Nice talking to you. Have a nice day. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Take
Thanks
care.
a lot, sir.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.